I've seen poverty, jail, drugs. So I've seen both the street side, and now I'm fortunate enough to be sitting here with esteemed counsel. I couldn't have gotten there but by the sacrifice of a loving mother, as well as certain people like Dr. Elmer and Joanne Martin of the Great Blacks and Wax Museum, who you heard from earlier. Some of the other people, including gentlemen like H. White Petty, who served as examples for me to look up to while I was in the street and looking up to certain and trying to be something. Being able to access people like Mr. Nevedon in the streets on my way to becoming a lawyer. So I say that to say, to add on to what we're talking about, how we go from Ferguson and how we continue the struggle. The struggle has never stopped, it continues. And what we need to do, first things first, we have to deal with our history and make the connection from what has happened in the past to where we are today. What Mr. Pettit talked about earlier, Reconstruction, a lot of the laws that came out of the Reconstruction era and a lot of the things that have happened to our people, history is repeating itself. Some of the same actions, police action and government action, is still being implemented in the same way. We have a problem with the disconnect of our people not explaining struggle. Our generation and the generation behind us, or should I say this XY generation, they have a disconnect. They don't understand the struggle. They don't believe, they no longer see the signs that say no blacks allowed, or colored only, or whites, or that kind of thing. So they don't see in the connection that the struggle that kept us suppressed by the oppressor is still going on. We have this belief system that that things just happen to those people over there and not us. Then we have people in this room who practice victim blaming. And if we start dealing with the history, we'd understand that we've all been victimized, and that some of us have been fortunate enough to have elected offices, and so therefore we can point down we can talk down our nose at those who may not have jobs or that kind of thing. We can stand on platforms like this and we can point out and we can talk about other people who have not arrived where we are because they've not been fortunate enough to gain access to political information. But that's by and large the problem. We haven't connected the dots. Now some of us in this room, the esteemed people that we have in this room, yeah, we may have groups of intelligentsia in this room, but none of this intelligentsia is willing, and I dare challenge us all to take this and let's go to Pennsylvania Avenue.
Come on now.
Let's go up to Pennsylvania Lawn Street right now and let's have this discussion. Next time, now I was a kid breakdancing outside of here, and I've been on the stage at the Arena Players, so I need the Arena Players. I wouldn't be an attorney having the ability to speak to groups of people, but for the ability to be on stage as an actor, like the other act that you heard up here. I was up here, but it took the Arena Players and the history of this institution, and me knowing that this place was here. But I had a mother that connected the dots and told me about this place as we walked down here. I had a mother that took me through as we walked up the avenue to Lafayette Market that showed me Thurgood Marshall's house in my neighborhood, so I wanted to be a lawyer instead of just being a hustler. So we need to connect the dots. And she told me about how Pennsylvania Avenue, how downtown burned, okay, when things went wrong, when Dr. King was killed on April 4th, 1968. See, we don't deal with the pain of the oppression. Our people don't deal with the pain of the oppression. Many of us, by and large, we drug ourselves, we drink ourselves because of the things that have happened to us, because we have, now I study social work under Dr. Elmer Martin over at Morgan State University, so I'm saying this from a certain place of study. We understand we have psychological problems that have been institutionalized. I spoke to Mr. Bay earlier, and I was trying to get him to expose us, to talk about how we can implement some of these teaching, that there's a psychological attack that has been happening, that has happened to us for such a long time. Right. Okay, we have not broken that, and because we've not broken that, we can't deal with some of the problems on this level with esteemed counsel, esteemed people like us in the same setting, because we'll get across the room and we'll draw a line from black intelligentsia to the proletariat, to those that are on the other side of the room, them there niggas over there that I don't want to deal with. I said the N-word because I can say it. I represent as a member of the establishment, an officer of the court. I am a member of the establishment, but just as quickly as they gave it to me, I can go back to where I came from not too long ago. And I'll take this knowledge with me. So I say that to say, Brother Huey P. Newton and people like that taught us learning the knowledge, learning the law, which we are always a part of. Yes. We have always been affected by it. Yes, it's my business, his business, another gentleman up here, the business of law. This is what we do. And we need people like you to come to us for questions. But I would rather to have people in my neighborhood know their rights. Know what the 14th Amendment was. Know what the 4th Amendment is. Know what your right to counsel is, your 5th Amendment right to counsel. Okay? So I say that to say, church folk, we want to talk. Let's be real. Let's separate our love for Jesus and let's talk about what has happened to our people. Can we have a meeting where we just sit and we talk and separate and stop drawing lines because people don't pray the way we pray, and let's deal with what has happened. Now, you all have the institutions that allow people to come and sit. Now, get with people like us so we can come and teach our people what their rights are. That would be my thing. We, myself included, and other gentlemen like us who have, if we could put some of our economic gain aside for a second and say, you know what, on this Saturday, you know what, never done myself and petty dollars, we're going to go down and we're going to give, we're going to start a class or doing some classes on teaching this certain population about how to deal with the police. What to say when you come across an officer. Second, personal responsibility. Every time we have a black young man shot, and I'm not talking about other groups of people, we can stop vilifying the victim like we did Mike Brown. Without ever knowing the true facts, we let another group of people narrate for us and write our own narrative. Okay? And so instead of writing our own narrative, I should say. I say that to say, become more informed about the law, about the political process. We are the law. We are the criminal justice system. More than anybody else. Since slavery, we were the stock. We take our money. They don't talk about Blackout Friday when we decided to divest our monies. They don't talk about how it affected the country. They don't talk about the stocks. They won't talk about that because if we're expecting them to, then we're foolish.
That's right.
How can you expect people or a group of people who have come out of slavery to look back at the oppressor and hope that the oppressor will then respect us? That doesn't make sense. It is our job to learn this system. We are in a system.
That's right.
Don't look for these people to accept you.
That's right.
They don't accept us. They smile and grin at us with black robes and everything like that. I mean, there are some that are hostile. There are some that are not. But this is a system. And it's not about, well, you know, you get clients that come up and they believe that the judge should have some compassion and should do. And maybe that human being in that robe should. But don't always look for that. This is a system, so know your rights. One of the things that made the Black Panthers so powerful is not the fact that they could walk down the street with their guns. It was their minds. It was the fact that these 4 or 5 young college students who sat and listened to Malcolm X speeches were inspired by Brother Malcolm and then put into a plan of action. I don't have all the answers. I don't know if Brother Wendell has them, or Mr. Pettit, or Mr. Nevadon, or anybody else in this room. But I dare say, if we start with our history, telling the truth about our history.
Tell it.
You know that our laws have been created. Michael Higginbotham, my old professor at UB, has a book called Race Law. Get that book, implement it by teaching your own children everything in that book. It is the legal precedence book. It'll tell you all the legal precedents that have been affected around race, and which have brought us here similarly situated. Okay, you'll learn about the civil rights laws. You'll learn about what Reconstruction laws came out of that. You'll learn about the first sales of slaves and how we were then classified as property. You'll learn how everything has been codified in law. So how can we not make our children learn law? I'm not saying you have to be a lawyer. Everybody's not going to be a lawyer. Okay, let's not kid ourselves. But some of us can be officers. Some of us, because that's another answer too, another part of it, because we're here for solutions. The other part is, yes, join the police department.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want police from Dundalk and Essex and Cockeysville. I'm sorry, Cockeysville and places like that. Joining Baltimore City Police and coming, if I'm riding out from Harford County and I want to drop my son off, I don't want to see guys coming in with the little blue and black bars, driving in, clean shaven faces and everything with their old glasses on, coming down to go to North Avenue or going to Central Police. Because that means that they're not in this neighborhood, they're not from this neighborhood, they're policing our neighborhood. That means you have an occupying army coming in to subject certain people to a certain type of treatment.
That's right.
And if you continue to have that, you don't have that connection with the people. That is our problem. I know guys who went to Walbrook with me who are officers. We don't see enough of that. And so you have this disrespect and this no relationship with the people from the community, and therein lies our problem. So I'm sorry, as you know, we have other esteemed council. Please forgive me. I've been a little long-winded.